All right, hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Hurley Investments Market View commentary for June the 14th. I'm just going to say, take one guess where I'm at. Jim, Mary, James, William, you guys were on the phone, so you're not allowed to guess where I was at. But for the rest of you, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to take one guess where I'm at. Come on, guys, take a simple guess. California. That is a guess, and it's a good one. But no, I'm not in California. Looks like we have Jeff and Jeffrey here. One guess where I'm at? All right, for those of you who don't know, I am out in Dutch John, out by one of the 4 Colorado watersheds. And to make sure I have a signal, I went about 1.85 miles up a dirt road to where I saw a cell tower. And I'm basically here for the week to make sure I've got enough signal to help out a youth group. Really, we're going to be busy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I think it's only Friday is my only day that I am truly unable to watch the stock market or unable to make a phone call. We'll be fishing down the Green River. Going to give these scouts a chance to do some water skiing. Scouts, they're no longer scouts. This youth group to do some water skiing and some river rafting down the Green River. I kept in here what the most important thing is in relation to successful trading. It comes down to time. And a lot of people have asked, well, what's going on right now? And what it comes down to is, come on, computer. All right. Right now, we are going through the summer doldrums. So what does that mean to your positions? If you're going through the summer doldrums, what does that mean? What would you think if someone just tell you, hey, we're going through summer doldrums? Take it. There you go. The stock market's not moving, which is true, but it's interesting because I should just say, let's go sideways stock market movement. Now it's interesting because you hear, oh, the S&P and the Dow are at all-time highs. If I was to take a quick peek, 42.38, we're at 42.55. So we're about what, 0.47%? 0.47%, not even a 0.5% higher than where we were on those highs. Someone asked me most recently, well, Kevin, the Dow's at an all-time high. I said, no, I don't think it is. And I took a look, and that all-time high that they were talking about was 34.8, and it's like, no, it's been up as high as 35.1. And then obviously the NASDAQ is about 4% off those highs. So when you see, I guess what I'm going to tell you, plain simple, when you hear some news commentary, when you read through the Go Charts weekly pulse, closed higher for the 3rd consecutive week, to put that into perspective, verify what you're hearing. For the 3rd consecutive week, you know, here it is right here at 42. It's now at 42.56. We're up 1.33%. Some people think, well, we're up 10%. That's not really true. If it was true, we'd look a lot better. But we're not. We're up only, as far as, plain and simple, as far as all-time highs, not quite. Not quite. It's not like we're trading up 10% higher. So the reason why I'm pointing that out is because there are a couple things that we do to help out positions. And one of the things we do to help out positions, today we sold $16 short calls on Ford. And I think we got somewhere in the price range of 42 to 44 cents. And the short answer, if Ford gets up to 16, we'll get called out. If we don't get it up to 16 in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we're going to take 42 cents divided by 16. We're going to make 2.62%. It's something we're doing to create some revenue in the account. So right now, we are trying to create revenue in the account for the summer doldrums or for sideways movement. We have a holiday coming up. July 5th will be coming up. So that'll be a shortened week, which means the last week in June will be a shortened week. We're going to see our market move sideways for the time being, even though we had excellent earnings. We're going to see our market most likely move sideways because we are only able to do so much with the uncertainty that's out there when it comes to taxes, when it comes to the government, primarily, obviously, the uncertainty with capital gains. We just don't know what we're going to do, so we're trying to do the best we can to navigate what we see in the stock market right now. With that said, and I'm going to take a quick peek to make sure they were all done. There's Ford, there's Ford. We also added long put protection on Under Armour today. Broke the long-term support level of $21 today. Well, Kevin, what if it bounces up tomorrow? Then we might take it off again. It's interesting to take a peek because as we were looking at some of these positions, Ford should have held 15. Under Armour should have held 21. And we have a bunch of tests at 2110, 2037, 2122, 2072, 2146, 2106, 2198 is not really. We have whatever these are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions. We hope 2030 holds. That'll be where we'll bounce. We'll take it off. But because of the way Under Armour was acting, we added protection on Under Armour today. We did the best we could to do what we needed to protect a position, especially based on the movement that it had today. All right. If we look at our marker, where our market's going to end this week, I'm just going to go with lower. I'm going with lower because I'm looking at the trend. Well, Kevin, it's been up for 3 or 4 weeks now, right? I get it. But the Dow Jones is testing the 50-day. Technically is still bullish, but if I go ahead and do a couple circles here, up here at the top, look at how close it is to breaking the median line. If we break that, we're now bearish. We touch the 50-day. Last time it broke it and went higher. We'll see if we can get that as well. Problem is we're fighting a double top. A double top is typically a bearish indicator. So looking at the Dow, we're still bullish, but barely. If we look at the S&P, we're bullish, we're moving forward. We had a nice bounce off of the medium pivot point. Overbought with institutions, approaching our overbought line here. Highest we might go is 42.75, your pivot point. That also sits right up here. And then if we don't get stimulus package, some understanding of where we're going to get for our taxes, we'll probably pop back down and we'll come down and we'll test the medium pivot point as well as the 50-day simple moving average. It's basically what we're looking at just to give us an understanding of where our market's at right now and where we're going to head to. 2 comments came in, so let me make an answer on both of those comments. Is Reddit activity masking the doldrums in the volume? Possibly, because the next question is, well, Kevin, we have pretty average volume. And pretty average volume just means things are churning. Hey, things are going sideways. We're going to get you out of this mutual fund into another. The interesting part is that mutual fund might have 97% of what was in the first one is still in the second one. But big money churns you out of one fund into another so they can make a better commission. It's very interesting. So the comment I'm going to make, I don't think Reddit activity is truly masking the doldrums. It might mask a couple that are moving at higher percentage basis. It could be because we're looking at 4 or 5 stocks now, which do fall into the S&P, but do not fall into the Dow, which is why you could see the difference between the two. Good comment there, Jim. And William, I think for the volume, I think the volume is just churn. It's just a churn. I don't think it has to do with Reddit there at all. Reddit does have a lot of volume, but there are others that don't have as much volume. So it's just a churn as far as I can see. 2 good comments or questions there. I liked them both. And if we look at the NASDAQ, came all the way up. So tomorrow's an important day. Not only did we hit that R1 resistance level or come pretty close to it, which sits at, we're at 1474. It looks like it sits at 14,193. So we're just pretty close to it. We're also pretty close to the resistance level on the RSI, Relative Strength Index, and we're also pretty close to the resistance level on the MAC Williams percent R, just meaning we've been overbought for going on a month. We seem a little ripe for a pullback, and that pullback will probably be pretty close to the all-time highs, which we're obviously close right here. If we hit here and head down, that is called a triple top formation, which would just mean that, hey, there's a resistance level we can't get out. Usually 3 times when it hits it, it means all of the buy orders are used up and there are more sell orders than buy orders, and the stock will head back down. Wouldn't surprise me to see it head back down to the lows, which would be 13,000, in which case all of our technology companies would get protection on pretty quickly. We'll do the best we can to pick up shares because we're looking at over a 10% drop. Pretty interesting. You got to use technical, fundamental, sentimental, and common sense when you're looking at your market in general. All right. S&P, I'm still calling for a 1% growth in June, which means, this is the Dow, not what I'm looking for, which means we're probably going to come back and test the resistance, come back up we'll probably finish the month right around that 4,200 level. It's a round number. Wouldn't surprise me to see it there. That would also create a double top, which is also a negative indicator for growth. Be interesting to see if the government, again, stimulates our way out of a boring stock market right now. Earnings, there were no earnings today. Tuesday we have Oracle. We have Jeff and Lennar on Wednesday. KBL, Kroger, Adobe, Smith & Wesson Brand Corporation. The big one on our economic reports this week is we're looking at an FOMC rate decision. This is going to be scrutinized to a ridiculous amount. So even though we have some pretty important economic reports, retail sales, industrial production, cap utilization, the HAB housing market, business inventories, 5 red or important economic reports, don't be surprised to see a muted reaction, even though we have housing starts and building permits on Wednesday. Don't be surprised to see a muted reaction until we see what that FOMC rate decision is. They're obviously not going to raise rates right now, but if their language changes, if you start to hear Powell say, we'll look at it at the end of the year, they weren't going to look at it till next year. If they start to say inflation is spiking and it's no longer transitory, if you start to hear some verbiage where there's some uncertainty and their expectation, we could see a drop in our market starting Wednesday. For us, it's at 12:15, noonish time, lunchtime, which would mean 2:15 out there in the East Coast. Rate decision will move our markets for the week. Again, we have 8 important, maybe 9 actually, important, so to speak, economic reports, but the FOMC rate decision is king. Monthly options expiration will expire this Friday. Let me check, make sure I've done that right. I'm going to check our calendar. It is the 3rd Friday on the 18th. So June options expire. We have some in June. We have some in the last week of June. So we'll be paying attention to either roll, add more short calls, add protection. We'll be looking at that on Friday. Keith and I will be talking Thursday. Friday night, I'll be on the Green River with this youth group. I will not be available, but I'm available all these other days that I'm out here actively watching the stock market. But the Green River will be on Friday, so Keith will take care of both of our accounts and make the adjustments that we talk about on Thursday night. All right. As I said last week, looking to add short calls were appropriate. They were just added on to Ford. Thank goodness we didn't do it to Apple, but we are looking at a couple more, primarily Boeing. Boeing's breaking a support level, so we're looking to add some long puts and probably going to adjust or add the short calls there on Boeing. Let's see here. GM Ford all in on EVs, electric vehicles. Interesting article. Kind of pisses me off that they're down. They shouldn't be down. But a very interesting article to explain where they're at for electrical vehicles right now, where they're putting their money and where it's going to go. Those trucks look ugly. Probably because it's their GMC Hummer version, right? Hummers look better when they looked more military-ish for me. All right, breakup of Google or Amazon. Last week, we had a muted end of the week market because we had some legislature which was presented in the House, I believe. I wanted to put this information in here so you could get an idea of what was being discussed. Please read through it. Also looking at the antitrust. And basically, these are called the monopoly bills. There were 4 monopoly bills that went through, and at least were presented. Probably only one will get through, but take a look to read it so you see what you could be up against. Very interesting comment, because JP Diamond has always been pro-business. JP Diamond says JP Morgan is hoarding cash because very good chance inflation is here to stay. It's interesting because inflation only helps out the banks, right? They get to charge higher interest rates on their home loans. We've been waiting for it for forever. Mr. Jamie Dimon, Mr. Diamond here, is thinking, hey, better to hoard more cash, which I'm a little confused, because if inflation is here to stay, that cash is worthless as inflation goes up. Something I'm going to research, but I wanted to put it in here for you guys to see. I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't follow this Who guy very often, but it's something to pay attention to. And last but not least, what moved markets today higher, Paul Tudor Jones said, go on inflation trades if the Fed keeps ignoring higher prices. He, Musk, and one other also talked today about Bitcoin. So he saw a huge pop on Bitcoin. I can't help that Musk jumped on with Tudor Jones here to do nothing more than to boost his price, because that poor guy was buying it at $50,000, went all the way down to 30. I mean, that's a 40% loss in a couple of weeks on all the payments he took on cryptocurrency. Very easy. $1.4 billion that I think he has. Could you imagine if Tesla reports a $1.4 billion, so 4, if they report like a $500 million loss because the value of cryptocurrency went down, that would be something that would just serve them right for doing that, is the short answer. Not smart, not a way to run a business, not a way to affect your earnings by buying cryptocurrency. All right, I'm a little bit quick today. Any questions you guys have that I can answer? Let me give you a few minutes to think of any questions that you might have that I can answer. And William, I knew you were going to answer this. Thank you for reminding me. William asked, well, Kevin, why have I not just added short calls on everything, right? If I was thinking about doing it, if I was looking to do some things, why did I not just add short calls on everything? And really it came down to the VIX. We've seen the VIX travel downward. And I don't want to say that it's not worth it, but when you see the VIX at these lows, I would have rather have started to look at it up here. And there's just a level of uncertainty that we weren't there for. So to be buying VIX down here, buying short calls when volatility is low, it just means you don't get a whole lot of credit. It's not worth the credit you might receive to a certain degree. 43 cents on Ford at a 2.63% return for 4.5, 5 weeks. I was saying, you know what? I'll do that one. I'll take that one. But we didn't do it on Under Armour because there's just no credit. At a resistance level up at $4 on Under Armour, there was like 20 cents. 20 cents is 1/10 of 1% for 5 weeks, where I can get 2.62% on Ford. Some stocks are worthwhile, some stocks they're not. So we're looking at each individual one, and we're making our best educated decision. IDA, buying puts on the indices. That is something we can do. Right now it's a cheap time as you buy long positions. They're relatively cheap. That's why some of you saw us dollar cost average Apple here recently on long positions. We also dollar cost averaged some newer Visa ones, or those that are relatively new and have Visa. We, yes, to buy puts or to buy calls is also going to be cheap here. We could buy puts on the indexes. We're just not to the point where we're certain if it's going to go down or up. So it's awfully hard to buy puts on bullish moving indexes. You just typically don't want to buy a bearish position on a bullish index. But yes, we are considering that, Ida, and considering it for a potential move down. We just would rather pay a little bit more than jump the gun and watch our market keep floating higher. Right now, again, the general trend is sideways, which doesn't necessarily help you on spending money on the puts. But some of you should have noticed on Boeing long calls, on Apple long calls, we did do a little dollar cost averaging last Thursday, Friday. Great questions. Are there any other questions you guys have? If I don't see any coming in, thank you guys. Thank you for putting up with me. Again, I've got this youth group, 16 kids. They greatly appreciate that you give me these opportunities to do this. The good news is, obviously, I do have my phone. I am checking the market and working with Keeve every single day. First thing in the morning, it's 6 o'clock, so that way I can get the kids up at 7. We do go over positions at lunch. We do go over positions at the end of the day. So we do communicate 3 times a day. I am looking at my phone, even if I am fishing, and I'll make sure that you guys are taken care of. Guys, have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you being here. Look forward to seeing you guys on probably tomorrow night, but I think Keith's doing tomorrow night and Thursday. So I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday, and we'll be doing that commentary from Denver. It'll probably be Keith and I right next to each other on the computer. You guys take care. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.